Hi, welcome to Shed of Design. This is my shed where I do design work. My name's Michael, I'm a full-time web designer, father of four. I'm a very busy man. But today I'm going to take a few minutes out to teach you about CSS, what exactly it is and how powerful a tool it could be to have in your arsenal as a fellow web designer or aspiring one. The following video you're about to watch was done using Bricks Builder for WordPress. It is the 17th of June 2024 today, so if your WordPress or Bricks looks a bit different, that's because it's probably in the future and it's changed. Okay, let's get cracking. So what we got here is a fresh install of WordPress on my computer using Local, which is a program that means you can host WordPress on your computer. I've created a page. Inside the page there's a section. Here, inside the section is a container, and then inside the container are two basic text elements, right? The structure of this bit you don't need to worry about for now. I'm literally just explaining to you how powerful CSS is and what it can do, right? If we click on this text line here, okay, and you can click it here in the window, or you can click it on the structure panel over here, and you can select each individual one, but we're using this top line of text, okay? Every line of text, every image, every button, or whatever element you're talking about on your website will have an ID. The ID is used so that you can apply styling to a particular element. So say you wanted to make this line of text bold, you could do that at the ID level. It does have a knock-on benefit that if you want to target an individual element, so say you've gone on the Contact Us Now for More Information section of a website, and there's a button, and when you press it, it scrolls down the page to a particular form. That is using an ID to find the element that you want that button to link to. Okay, so that kind of a real world example. Hopefully you got a rough idea what we're talking about. Don't worry if you don't, because you don't need to know at the moment. But the ID for here goes your text line 1 is shown over here on the left hand side of the screen, basic text, and you've got this hashtag in this box and then a load of gobbledygook you don't need to remember. But the hashtag shows you that that is the ID level for that element. If you click on it, there's nothing else, okay? So all that you can edit for this line of text is that line of text at the moment. And to prove that, I'm going to click on Style here, okay? Go to Typography, which is the posh word for text. Click on the color, and then we're just going to manually make it a manky blue color, okay? We have just done styling at the root level, okay? The only thing we've done is told Bricks that we want this bit of text to be blue. And what Bricks has done for us in the background is written the CSS. That's the joy of a web builder like Bricks. You don't need to know the CSS, you need to know what you want it to do, and it will do it for you. So that's why we use an editor in the first place, because it makes it a hell of a lot easier. So what we've done at the ID level of this section is, of this element, is to turn the text a gaudy shade of blue. Brilliant. I'm thrilled, okay? But that is what's all about. You can change the text or any other element design thing you want at the ID level. You just tell it what you want and it'll do it. But that's not great. So with this second one, we're going to create a class. All right. Now think of a class as sort of an instruction book for the website. Every element, so we're going to keep calling them elements, but text box or heading or image or whatever, every element can have classes applied to it, as many as you want. And basically, when the page is loading, it will look up what is this line of text supposed to look like, and it will load it to look like that. Similarly, if you've got 3 lines of text that are all using the same thing, it will know they all look the same, and it will load them all the same way. Also means if you want to change it, you can change them all in one go. I'm getting complicated. So we are going to create a class. A class always starts with a dot. But when you're using Bricks, you don't need to worry about typing the dot. So we're going to call this test CSS. Okay? So test -CSS. You can't put spaces in the names. You can't put weird punctuation marks. So it's letters, numbers, hyphens, and underscores. And we're going to press enter on the keyboard. And we now have, oh look, the hashtag's gone. We are now editing the CSS style sheet, and this class is the style that we're editing, okay? So we are editing test CSS. Again, don't panic, it's not complicated. And all we're going to do is the exact same thing we did before. So you've got content here, which shows you what the text is. Then we go to style, typography, and for this one, we want the text to be, let's go for this sort of pinky colour, okay? But we're going to do some more things. So font size, let's put 10, let's put 100 and really see it. Right, no, that's ridiculous. Put 50 in there, okay? And as you can see, the text got bigger. Now, text transform, this is fun stuff. You can have it on capitalised, which means the first letter of every word gets capitalised. You can have it uppercase, you can have it all lowercase, or you can have it none. If it's set to none, it will display it the exact same way that you've got it typed out here. So if we change this text, just to really show you what I mean. Here goes your text, and then the word select is in capitals, okay? But then if we were to apply text transform, it's currently showing up as it was that we typed it, okay? So we typed it out to be properly bonkers. There's capital words here, uppercase word there. If you are copying text from a Word document that somebody sent you, the odds are their styling is going to be all over the place. So the joy of this kind of thing is that you can straighten it up a little bit, right? You can make it so that all the words are uppercase, like that, or all the words are lowercase, like that, or... Okay, there you go. I didn't realise that. The capitalise on this, it doesn't affect it. So if it's already screaming capitals, you got nothing. But you can make it, all of it screaming capitals, all of it lowercase, or just however you put it in. Okay, that's basically some of the rules of CSS. But again, not hugely important. I'm just showing you what this does. We'll also play with the font weight. So if you've used Microsoft Word, you'll know that you can use regular, bold, italics, whatever. Font weight on the internet works sort of similarly, but it's got different names. So 100 is super, super light. 900 is super, super dark. Usually, by default, you're on about 400. Okay, so we're going to make this slightly darker, so 600, and it's just a little bit thicker. Font style, if you drop down here, you've got normal, italic, oblique. Let's go for oblique. Okay, what's the difference between oblique and italic? Couldn't tell you, so let's just stick with italic. Line height, so that is how spread apart the text gets. So if we put it to 10, no, that's still too big, you can't see. 5, 2, double space. Okay, line height 2, and we'll put letter spacing. So line height makes basically the space above and below the line is a bit higher. Letter spacing means there's more of a gap between all the letters. Okay, and let's put it to 5. There you go. So now you can see that just through the power of Bricks Builder, we have made the font bigger. We've made the text a different color. We have transformed the text to uppercase. It's 600 italic. Now, you know what? I'm going to get rid of the italics for now because that just makes it look even more horrific. It's giving me a headache. We've got a line height of 2, a letter spacing of 5. Okay, so it looks different. And that is all powered through this test.css thing. And how do you know that, Michael? Well, here we're going to go click on the container over here. We're going to add another element, another basic text element. Okay. And then when we click it here, it's got nothing going on. There's nothing happening. So what did we call our test CSS? We called it test CSS. So let's click this fresh line of text, go up here to the grey bar where you got the hashtag, and then we type in test and it will bring it up. And now look, it has got the same thing. It's got the same styling and it is sharing it all from test CSS. Yeah, but Michael, how do you know it's exactly the same? Because look, if we were to then change on our test CSS to lowercase, it changed them both. Okay, so instantly you can see what the benefit of this is, I would hope. If you've got, for example, a heading on every single page of your website, they want the same class. Okay, because if you decide, actually, no, I don't want them pink anymore, I want them orange, you don't want to have to go through and find them all and change them. You want to be able to go through and just change some of them. Okay, so the power of CSS continues. Let's show you something else. So test CSS. Then what we're going to do is making a new one. So we started writing it again. Underscore underscore on your keyboard. And this one's going to be orange. Okay. So again, you don't need to stop the full stop, but we've written test hyphen CSS underscore underscore orange. What does that mean? So it means test CSS is the name of our core element. Okay. The main bit of the styling that we're doing, we're calling test CSS. Double underscore means we are then sort of adding a rule or targeting a different bit of it. Okay, so you can call it anything you want. You can call classes any name you like, as long as you're going to remember what they are so you can come back to them. But with this test CSS orange, which we're going to add on, nothing's changed. Okay, this text line here still has test CSS applied to it. All right, and this new test CSS orange has no rules at all. At all. It is all blank. There's no little yellow dots. But when we click on this, so the original test CSS, you see this little yellow dot, it means that there are rules within that section, that area. Okay, test orange, if I can click it, there's no yellow dot. There are no rules. The only rule is that there are no rules. What we're going to do here is simply change the color to orange. So this is an adapter class. Okay, so you've got your main class here that it's giving it all of the font weight, the line height, the letter spacing and all that jazz, and we have just simply created another class that is piggybacking on that one. So you're going to need them both. If you want to make this override, you're going to need test CSS and then test CSS orange, and the only difference is the text is going to be orange on that one. Okay, hopefully it's making sense. You could easily copy all the elements that you've got here, so that you copy the font size, the text transform, the weight and everything else, and whack it all on test orange. If you wanted to do that, then you wouldn't need test CSS as well. If you removed that, it would keep all the styling. The trouble with that is, if you then made one single change to test CSS, you would need to go and find all the little supporting test CSS classes that you've made and make all the changes there. So fundamentally, it is better if you're making broad strokes of changing the appearance of an element, that you have one catch-all CSS class, and then when you want to make changes to it, you make changes to it. You can change that orange all across the site. Why create that and not just style at the ID level? Good question. So we created this orange subclass. Okay, so test CSS __ orange. We created this specifically to change the color of the text to orange. Let's see what happens if we try and apply it here. So this is our first text line. And if you remember, there's no styling at all through CSS. It is all at the ID level. Okay, so it's blue, and we told it that we want that text to be blue. If we were to go and add, what do we call it? CSS orange, test CSS orange to this, let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. But why is that? Because down here it's working. Okay, so maybe because there's something on that one, it's not applying any of it. Well, no, that's not true either, because if we apply test CSS, you'll see it's got all the funky styling on it. However, it doesn't have the funky colors. That is because we worked on it initially at the ID level. Now, the ID level, when you don't have a... sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. It's come from nowhere. The ID level, as you recall, means we are just editing that one example of it. Okay, not all the examples of it that we apply a class to, just that one line of text. We've told it to be blue, so it's blue. The ID styling will always overwrite everything else. Okay, which is a shame, because sometimes you've got an element that's really important and you want to be able to edit it, but you want to be able to overwrite things. Actually, that's a really good idea. Important. Let's try that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to delete this. Okay, I've got rid of the orange filter on test CSS orange now, and you can see the orange has all disappeared. Let's write some actual CSS, okay, just to show you something. CSS sounds really complicated. It isn't. It is just the rules that you want it to apply. So we're editing CSS orange here, so I'm going to go in this little text section down here. First of all, you need to tell it what we're editing. So full stop, test CSS __ orange. Okay, then you need squiggly brackets. I don't know what the proper name for them is, but you need to open and close these squiggly brackets that look a little bit like a face. And what we want to do here, we want to change the color. I know it's American spelling. If you are American, that's great. If you're not, it's irritating, but you get used to it pretty quick. Can I buy you? Color, then semicolon, and the word orange. And when I press, sorry, that's a semicolon. When I press that, still nothing happened. Okay, which is odd, isn't it? Why is nothing happening? Because all that we're doing here with the CSS is we are saying for the class test CSS __ orange, We want the color of the text to be orange, but it's not worked. However, it's really important that the color of it is orange. So let's try that. Exclamation mark, important. And now it's overridden everything. So you will have noticed, hopefully, maybe not, that this line of this text down here has the test orange on it as well. If I delete that, that's not orange either. However, if we were to go back up here and make it orange again, if I can find orange, that one does change colour, but that one can't, because this top one has been edited by the ID level. However, as we just discovered there, and I've gone round about the houses way of doing it, I'm going to delete that there. If you were to put dot test CSS double underscore orange, spell it right, squiggly bracket, close the squiggly bracket, and then color orange semicolon, doesn't work because we need to make sure that it knows it is important. And basically when you add that important element after the thing, it knows it's important, so it overwrites everything else. So even this one up here that had inline styling on the actual element itself, it's got inline, oh no, I didn't mean to do that, I was trying to close the box. On the styling, so on the ID level with the hashtag, it's got blue, but now it's got the orange one applied to it, and it's got important in the CSS itself, so it's overriding it. It's the joy of CSS. Now, as we've got this bit open, let's have a bit more of a play with it. On bricks, you may have noticed that it's changed it. So the class is called .test CSS double underscore orange, but within bricks, you just need to, if you're editing the class itself, so we're editing test CSS double underscore orange, you actually only need to write %root%, and then bricks knows, oh okay, you're editing this, and that's fine, that'll make sense to me, which is pretty cool, because it means you haven't got to keep typing out the class. There are other benefits to it, which I'll cover in a minute, but for now, let's keep pushing a little bit on this one. So we made that text, we changed the line heights and the colors and everything else using just the normal builder section. Okay, what we're also going to do is we're going to add a border to it. So you need to tell the website we want a border, colon, and then you need to tell it what color do you want that border. So let's have the border green. Nothing's happened. It's okay. You need to tell it 3 things. What color do you want it? Then you need to tell it, do you want it solid line, dash line, dots, but we'll go solid. Oh, it's coming together, and that looks all right. However, I also want it a thick border, so I'm going to put 5 pixel border. Look at that, 3 parts of information, and then you put semicolon, and now it has applied that border, that lovely border. And again, stylistically, it's fantastic, isn't it? What about if I wanted a background color? So if you just put color like this, that's to affect the text. Okay, background color will affect the background. Believe it or not, black. And there you go. Look at that. It looks like the start of Star Wars, doesn't it? That is all CSS means. You put the name of the thing you want to put in. So selector. So we're selecting color, for example. So selector colon value semicolon. That's the CSS sheet. So we'll delete that again, and then we'll try tell you what, box. No, not box shadow, because that's tricky. Padding. Okay, padding and margin. Margin. We want to apply 10 pixels of margin. What has that just done? Margin affects the outside of it, right? So this element here, which is still just a text line of text but made to look proper funky, is how can I, there you go. So if I select this container, you can see it here. We have now applied a margin to the outside of this green box. So as you can see, this pink one that didn't have a margin applied, it's still touching the blue outline of the container. So when you click section or container or element in bricks, it will highlight it with this blue line, okay, which is really handy. So when you click container up here, you will see that the pink one that doesn't have a margin applied to it is touching the blue, whereas this section up here has a margin applied of 10 pixels all the way around. So it now means there's a 10 pixel gap between the start of it and then it. Wait, there's more. That's what margin does. It adds space to the outside. What if you add space to the inside? That is called padding. Okay, and we are going to add 10 pixels of padding inside it with a semicolon. And now, as you can see, the H and the line are further apart. So you've got this green border with the H. If I take this back off, it's touching the border again, but we want padding of 10 pixels. And now it's squished it inside. And as you can see, it's editing test CSS orange, so it is only editing the inside of the ones that we selected to be orange. But maybe you don't want them orange anymore. Maybe you want them green. That's fine. You can just change them to green. But everything that's using this CSS style selector knows what you want it to do, so it will update them everywhere. Okay, so that is the power and joy of CSS. That is why it's one of the first things you need to get your head around. I don't expect you to know the shorthand for all of these straight away. I don't. Remember, Google is your friend. But the basics like color, border, background color, those things you should be able to remember. And it is just, you go to CSS, squirrely bracket, tell it what you want to target, colon, tell you how you want to target it, semicolon, and it will add it in. But that's what CSS does in a nutshell. Like I said, the power of CSS is limitless. You can affect any element on your website using CSS in a jiffy, and then you can change them all site-wide. If you don't apply CSS to them, or you only apply it at the ID level, not as a style, then you really are stuck to just changing every little thing individually. So there you go. I hope that's cleared things up a little bit for you. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to reply to them. First time visitors here, please like and subscribe and hit the little bell so you know when I'm doing another video. There will be more in the future. Any feedback, greatly appreciated. And yeah, until next time, all the best.